Hi there, Sandra here from CREATEINSPAIN. I'm making this video because on one of the brother user forums that I belong to, there are an awful lot of people who are extremely unhappy with the mats for the brother machines, be it the CM machines or the DX machines. Now, I have previously made 2 videos which give you very precise instructions and files to make your own mats. If you want to watch those, by all means, I will link them at the end of the video and you can see whether that would suit your purposes or not. But the reason for the video today is simply to talk to people about the mats who may be thinking of getting a brother machine, who have got some concerns, shall we say, about the mats. Now let me say, I had my machine in July, beginning of July, and this is my original mat. I do have another one, I haven't used it yet, and this is my original. Now I'm in the position where I have used both the Silhouette machines, the brother machines, both the CM and the DX, and I have also used 2 different machines from the Silver Bullet range, which is a high-end cutting machine that is more geared towards business users. I have never come across such absolutely awfully flimsy mats before. And that is why I actually did do some researching to see whether I could make mats myself. And yes, I can. I have found that the plastic that these are made of is no better than the plastic that I can get in the Chinese shops, which are basically for sale signs. And I can get a really large one and cut it into 2 and make 2 mats from that. I have done so. I'm not using them as yet, but I have got them ready in case I do need to use them. But this is very, very flimsy. I have never come across a mat which bends like this. And of course, the support for the mats is a little lacking in the brother machines. You have a tray at the front, but it only supports probably about that much of the mat. And at the back you have a tray again which is about that deep. So they are not fully supported on a level surface so that they go nice and flat through your machine. You have to work out another method of getting it to do it. I 3D printed some supports, and at the back of my machine I have put a plastic mat that climbs up the wall, so that when my mat goes through and it's going up the back, it will go up like that instead of going and hitting something hard. So it will actually go up like that and down again without any difficulty. Now, the main problem with these mats, apart from the fact they are somewhat flimsy, is that the top left corner tends to cause problems. Now, this has to be a design flaw. It's never the right hand corner that causes a problem, it is always the left corner that causes a problem, or at least in 99.9% of cases by the looks of it. It's always the left hand corner. Now, whether that is something to do with the fact that that's the place where the blade is going and the mechanics inside are different, I don't know. But today I found that my mat got itself picked up at the corner and it almost folded itself in half, and then of course the machine said, "Yeah, your material's too thick, I can't cope." Well, my material wasn't too thick, it was just this bending back on itself. Now when I put it in, it went in flat, but somehow or other, and I have no idea how, it got bent when it was going under the machine, under the parts that I cannot see. And I have looked at the bottom of my machine. I did turn it upside down and I exposed the scanner, and there's nothing on the scanner, there's nothing stuck in there to the best of my knowledge that I can see, but that corner was flipped up. Now you probably can see now that my corner is nice and flat. So what I wanted to tell you is how you can flatten it if you get that problem before it gets to the stage where it's completely wrecked. And for me, that was done with a piece of A4 printer paper and one of these irons. Now this iron doesn't get extremely hot. It's a travel iron, it's very basic, it doesn't have any water in it, by the way, but it doesn't get extremely hot. And I put it on a medium setting in order for this to work. And I simply folded a piece of paper underneath and over the top, and then just ironed it in a circular motion, but not going over this bit. I just went over the edge. And then I held it down while it cooled, and then it is flat. And I've used it since, and it's going through fine. So that's a way of doing that if you need to. The other thing that people do complain about is the fact that the mats lose their stickiness. And yes, they do. But having said that, all cutting mats will lose their stickiness depending on what you've put on them. If you're putting on a glossy card or paper, the chances are they'll last a bit longer. But if you're putting something on there which is fibrous, fibres will stick to it. As you can probably see here, I've got some shapes where I was making a box earlier. The paper was a bit fibrous, and even though I have cleaned it with a baby wipe, it's still got some fibres on there. It's still sticky enough for me to use, but it didn't get everything off, and I did rub it fairly hard with the baby wipe. However, if you want to re-stick your mats, it isn't that difficult to do. I do not advise using anything over the edges that's going to make it sticky there, i.e. spray, paint, spray, glues and things like that are a little more complicated. You would have to mask everything off to spray glue it. What I have used, however, is I used tack it over and over, and just a plastic scraper, and just applied a little bit on a couple of edges and then scraped it over and allowed it to dry. And that does the job just fine if I need to re-stick the mat. Now, Brother in the UK say you can use pin flare, I think it is. I don't get that here. And I think Brother in the US basically say, no, you shouldn't re-stick your mats. But that is completely unrealistic. And to be perfectly honest, I don't see why there should be a problem in you putting adhesive on your mat, as long as you keep these edges nice and free, as indeed mine are. I don't put any glue on them, so it's not a problem. Because this is covered by paper, this does not contact the machine, and the only thing that has any contact with it whatsoever is the blade. And I'm quite capable of cleaning my blade off, thank you very much. So that's how I keep it sticky. If I want to completely clean the mat and have it pristine, I have found that you can clean it off with soapy water if that will do the job for you. And I have used other things to clean it off, and it's fine. It doesn't make any difference to it. And as I said, this mat has lasted about 6 months so far, so I don't consider that to be too bad. What I do consider to be bad is the fact that to replace a mat like this, it's probably going to cost me about €35. That is ridiculous. That is just completely and utterly ridiculous. And for some reason, the DX mats seem to be dearer than the CM ones. They're made of the same material. Why should they be different? Why should they be dearer? No idea whatsoever, apart from profiteering. But as I said, if you do want to make your own mats, I will leave the videos with the file links and everything else up here somewhere at the end of the video, and then you can look at those if you so wish. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care.